Christ's sake, you're retiring.
I still got 6 more hours.
As far as I'm concerned, you're gone. It's Krolik's case. He's in charge. His call.
It's fine with me. You want to leave your own party?
My coat's upstairs.
Jack Nicholson is a retired cop who takes on one last case in The Pledge. It's one of 4 new movies we'll review this week, plus our memo to the Academy about some nominations we hope the voters make. I'm Richard Roeper, columnist for the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Roger Ebert, film critic for the Chicago Sun-Times. Jack Nicholson gives one of the quietest and most disturbing performances of his career in The Pledge, the new film directed by Sean Penn. He plays a cop who, on the day of his retirement, goes to investigate the brutal murder of a little girl and finds himself making a sacred promise to her parents that he will find whoever committed that crime.
Who did that?
We intend to find out, Mrs. Larson.
Do you promise me that you will?
Yes. Yes, Mrs. Larson, I promise.
The Nicholson character continues on the case despite the indifference of his former colleagues, played here by Sam Shepard and Aaron Eckhart. They think the murder has already been solved.
This is a big black station wagon. And these right here, these, according to an interview I had with a girl named Betsy Fisk, these are porcupines.
Okay, whoa, hold it. Porcupines and giants and Craig, you got to get a hold of yourself, Jerry. The case is closed.
To his amazement, Nicholson falls in love with a mother played by Robin Wright Penn. She has a daughter about the same age as the murder victim.
Where's Chrissy? Chrissy?
Where is she? She was just right here.
Chrissy?
I'll get back to you.
Chrissy?
The Pledge isn't a thriller so much as a journey into the depths of this retired cop's obsession. And although he loves little Chrissy, is he capable of actually using her as bait for the killer? Well, that's something he doesn't dare admit even to himself, but by the end of The Pledge, Nicholson and Penn have taken us into a very dark and disturbing place. Penn and Nicholson have both worked in the police genre before. Here, they transform it.
I can't recommend this movie as much as I admired Jack Nicholson's performance and Sean Penn's direction, because this is a movie that proves so well that without the writing, no matter how great the acting is, the story falls apart. And here the screenplay, I think, betrays this movie. Sean Penn, I think, also makes a really big mistake by starting the movie with the shot that's going to end the movie. And I know this has been done a lot in a lot of movies and a lot of plays, but in this case, it tells us what's going to happen. It tells us too much. And toward the end of this movie, there are just one too many coincidences for me. It's just like one coincidence after another, where I need more than that. I need more than just chance or happenstance to put him back in this shot that we saw at the beginning of the movie.
The opening shot is just Jack Nicholson walking around talking to himself, so we don't know until the end. But
well, he's a failure, and he's in despair, and we don't see him doing that again.
But what's
so we know
interesting
that
is the fact that this movie doesn't move toward a typical crime solution. It moves deeper and deeper into Jack Nicholson's soul and into his obsessions and into his fears. And by the end of the film, he has made the journey. I mean, it's not about solving the crime in a way. It's about himself as a cop who goes over the edge.
At that, it does it very well, but the Jack Nicholson character is also a little bit inconsistent. Sometimes he's a really good cop. Sometimes he does things that are just ridiculous, and he stands by way too many times when he sees who the killer is, and he can jump in, and instead he does this ridiculous stakeout where he puts the little girl in jeopardy.
No, I wouldn't exactly describe what happens exactly that way, but I think that one of the problems with his inconsistency is he's kind of going around the bend.
Well, maybe so, maybe so. So we both like Nicholson. You like the story better than I did. Okay, our next movie is The Amati Girls, boasting 3 Oscar winners in the cast, including Cloris Leachman as the matriarch of a close-knit working-class Italian family, Lee Grant as her sister, and Mercedes Rule as Grace, the eldest of her 4 daughters. It gets pretty crowded in that Amati kitchen as the sisters wave their arms around and share their feelings about life and love and death and food and God and commitment and family.
Would you both just stay out of my marriage?
Is that a marriage?
Well, Denise, at least I'm in one. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're not. You meant that.
Come on, girls, let's stop this. We've all made different choices.
Well, at least I hang in there. At least I try to stick it out.
Excuse me, Ms. Masochist, for being honest and filing for divorce.
At least when I make a commitment, I honor it.
Recently widowed, Mama Dolly Amati is obsessed with her own funeral arrangements.
And I don't want to be buried on top. I'd be more comfortable on the bottom. Mom, please, girls, it's what I want. I want my mind put at ease. I want to be prepared. It's important to me.
This is a tremendously talented cast, and everyone works really hard to make the material work, but the Amati Girls is overwrought, predictable, and really loud. It's also incredibly manipulative. From scene to scene, I could pinpoint almost the exact moment when the string music would kick in and someone's eyes would well up, and you know it was time for her to make the big speech. Well, before the story reached its forced conclusion, I was echoing Paul Sorvino's catchphrase, basta.
Boy, I hated this movie. I really did. It's on my list of the worst films of the year. And they keep talking about saints in the movie. It's St. Christopher and St. Cecilia. And so the one they really need is St. Jude, the patron saint of lost causes, because that's what this movie really is. And as I watched this family go through all of these cliched stereotypes, you know, you tick off, will the father turn up in time for the performance? You know, the mother is shopping for her coffin. Will she die? We know somebody has to die.
Right.
Will the old guy talk about the first time that he saw his wife? Will they have the obligatory argument about whether Frank Sinatra or Tony Bennett is the better singer? I mean, this is like an anthology of Italian
And the answers, unfortunately, are yes, 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 and yes, and yes. And we go, no, 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 no.
Coming up later in the show, Brad Pitt is a bare-knuckle boxer in Snatch.
Matt's in shock like always. Did you understand a single word of what he just said?
Coming up next, William H. Macy is a professional hitman who falls for Nev Campbell in Panic.
Are you one of these middle-aged guys who's tired of his marriage and thinks maybe a beautiful young thing could help him out?
Excuse me? I work for my father. Doing what? I kill people.
That's right. William H. Macy was raised by his father to kill people. It's the family business, but now he wants out. In the new movie Panic, he has a child he loves, but a wife he can hardly talk to because she doesn't know what he does for a living. In desperation, he goes to a psychologist, and sitting in the therapist's waiting room is a 23-year-old girl who sees right through him. She's played by Nev Campbell.
So your plan is you have me, you ravish me, you bury your pathetic middle-aged pain in me, and then you say thanks, or maybe you don't, you leave, and I never see you again? Or I see you again and again because I make you feel better, and you can't stand not feeling better. Either way, you finally get your together, and you go back to your marriage, your lovely life, and your lovely wife, and I'm left alone in this apartment wondering when my own life is going to begin. Is that your plan? Jesus, it must be. You're here.
I'm not middle-aged.
Macy's father is played in a chilling performance by Donald Sutherland as a man who still treats his growing son as a child.
You don't know what I know. I don't know what you know. I can't hurt you. You can't hurt me.
I'm just wondering what the guy did that the client, you know, wants him taken care of.
Plausible deniability, Alex. That's the key. Otherwise, what we'd have on our hands is an insecure operation.
The point is, I know him.
Panic was written and directed by Henry Brommel, who does a tricky job with different moods in the movie. It's darkly comic, erotic, frightening, and a perceptive character study. William H. Macy does what he does best, playing a character who seems about to implode under the pressure. Tracy Ullman is understandably angry and confused as Macy's wife, and Sutherland has played a lot of villains, but never one quite this diabolical. I think Panic is one of the year's best films.
It's a terrific movie, and you mentioned Donald Sutherland. He's actually more chilling when he's disciplining his grandson at the dining room table in a scene that just gives you the creeps than he is when he's teaching his son and talking to his son about being a hitman. And Nev Campbell gives a speech about the affair that she might have with the William H. Macy character, that it was so smart and perceptive that it just rocks him on his heels. And, of course, Macy's terrific as well.
You know, you can see in the way Sutherland treats his grandchild, you can see where Macy's problem started when he was a kid, and you see that also in some flashbacks.
So
this father is a monster. And Nev Campbell, I've admired her for a long time. She has not taken the easy route of a good-looking young woman in Hollywood
From
pictures.
a popular TV show who says, okay, I'm just going to do...
one picture after another, she takes something a little tricky and does something good with it.
She's doing what William H. Macy's done. She's becoming a character actor, which is the way to go. Okay, coming up next, Fight Club's Brad Pitt returns to the ring in Snatch.
Right. It's a terrible parcel and party with the blueberries. Have I made myself clear, boys?
Brad Pitt is an Irish gypsy boxer with a language all his own in Snatch, an electrically brazen caper from director Guy Ritchie. It's his follow-up to Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and it features the same flashy camera work and a similar story with shocking bursts of violence offset by wicked comedic banter. Dennis Farina is terrific as a New York mobster who learns that his London contact, Frankie Four Fingers, played by Benicio del Toro, has stolen a diamond the size of a walnut.
Frankie,
I'm what?
stay out of those casinos. You did a good job, Booby. Don't go screwing it up, all right?
I hear you, Avi. I'll see you, Avi.
Soon the diamond slips through Frankie's Four Fingers and into the hands of a couple of bumbling small-time hoods.
Toma, Severi.
Now, then, let's have a look, shall we? Tony? Whoa. Look in the dog.
In the meantime, Jason Statham's character of Turkish is trying to help a mob boss named Bricktop fix a fight.
Make sure your man goes down in the fourth. You understand me now, don't you, Turkish?
This is the one place I didn't want to be, in his debt.
Richie must be a big fan of Quentin Tarantino's, as Snatch plays like a British Reservoir Dogs, and the Pulp Fiction influence is evident as well, with ingredients such as the boxer who's supposed to throw a fight but doesn't, and a guy in the backseat of a car who gets whacked due to a quirk in traffic. Now, Richie's hot dog directorial touches are sometimes distracting, and there are so many eccentric characters we sometimes need a scorecard. But I am recommending Snatch because it has a lot of eye candy to offer, and there's that brilliantly bizarre performance from Brad Pitt. This is a movie that loves movies.
Yeah, but I'm not a critic who loves this movie. You know, one of the funny things about Richie is, and I admire him as a director who goes all the way with this stylistic stuff.
Yeah.
The first movie, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, people complained they couldn't understand the accents over here. So brilliantly, he hires a Hollywood star, Brad Pitt, and gives him an accent nobody in the movie can understand either.
Yeah, but that's the joke he's playing on himself, and he's showing what a great sense of humor he has on, right?
I know. That's what I thought was kind of funny.
Okay.
What I didn't think was funny is this movie is basically just the first movie recycled with all of these character names out of Guys and Dolls, and this plot you can't follow and don't care about. There are moments, individual scenes that work, but there's no magnet to pull you through the movie, nothing to care about. You don't really...
The dog. What about the dog? Didn't you care about the dog?
You don't really mind how it turns out.
Did you care about Bullet Tooth Tony? Come on. I thought there were a lot of
no.
really interesting characters in here, and you're right. The stuff with the diamond gets a little bit silly, but it's a heck of a good time at the movies.
Okay, when we come back, our memo to the Academy, great work that we hope doesn't get overlooked at Oscar nomination time.
It's about purity.
Right now, all over this great nation of ours, 100,000 white people from the suburbs are cruising around downtown, asking every black person they see, you got any drugs? You know where I can score some drugs? Think about the effect that has on the psyche of a black person.
Well, that's a scene from Traffic, which is one of the front runners for Oscar nominations this year. And now that the Oscar ballots have been mailed out, we'd like to offer some of our suggestions for worthy nominations. We've already talked about such favorite films as Almost Famous, Crouching Tiger, High Fidelity, and Wonder Boys, and we're pretty sure they're going to get nominations. And in September, we did a show of early Academy suggestions, and we're not going to repeat those here, although we still stand by them, right?
Yep.
We want to look mostly at autumn releases, and I would be very pleased, for example, if You Can Count on Me is nominated as one of the year's best films. It stars Laura Linney and Mark Ruffalo in remarkable performances as a brother and sister who have had an unpredictable relationship since childhood. Writer-director Ken Lonergan does a brilliant job with the complexities and contradictions of everyday life.
Yeah, I don't want to believe in something or not believe in it because I might feel bad. I want to believe in it or not believe in it because I think it's true or not. Yeah, I mean, I want to think that my life is important, that it's connected to something important.
Well, isn't there any way for you to believe that without calling it God or religion or whatever term it is that you object to?
Now I'd like to name 3 more nominations I think the Academy voters would be very wise to consider. There wasn't a more heartbreaking female performance all year than Ellen Burstyn's work in Requiem for a Dream as a senior citizen addicted to diet pills. Her performance was truly courageous, entirely without ego as the drugs caused her to start hallucinating.
I would just like to say hello to my husband Seymour and to my beautiful, successful son Harold. I hope you're in love.
I hope Fred Willard gets a supporting actor nomination for his hilarious work in Best in Show, where he played the TV commentator who managed to miss the entire point of a dog show. In a movie filled with funny performances, his was the bedrock.
How much weight do you think I could bench press? Just make a guess, ballpark figure.
Absolutely.
315 pounds. I mean, I was in top shape.
I hope Ed Harris is nominated as Best Actor for his performance in Pollock as the tortured abstract expressionist artist Jackson Pollock. Harris also directed this film, which is one of the most persuasive biographies I've seen. Marcia Gay Harden is brilliant as the wife, Lee Krasner, and also deserves a nomination.
I want to have a baby, our baby. That's what the progression of things is about. That's what the union is about.
That's not what the union is about.
Well, what else is there?
That's not what it's about, Jack.
For me?
The vows don't stipulate baby.
I am not going to bring another life into that.
I'm afraid the Academy is going to spend a lot of its votes on films like Castaway and Gladiator, which are successful and respectable, but not really extraordinary. Wouldn't it be great if they reached out to the most creative work instead of just rubber stamping the box office winners?
Those are excellent suggestions, and I got a funny feeling that Fred Willard just might sneak in there and get a nomination.
I'd like
Maybe
that a
it's
lot,
wishful
yeah.
thinking. Okay, let's take a look at some of my picks. For my suggestions, if you're looking for a period piece with a heartbreaking storyline, beautiful performances, and a majestic feel for its era, skip Gladiator and look instead at The Claim. Michael Winterbottom's harsh and gorgeous tale of romance, betrayal, and greed is my favorite Western since Robert Altman's McCabe and Mrs. Miller. That house is being moved because a man is showing a woman just how much he loves her. It would also be a shame if Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon didn't get a Best Picture nod, but I hope the Academy also recognizes the astonishing trifecta accomplished by Michelle Yeoh. She's luminous in her quiet scenes with Chow Yun-fat and Zhang Ziyi. She's powerful and graceful in the fight scenes, and she's delivering her lines in Mandarin, a language she didn't even know before she was cast.
不准摸，那是李慕白的剑。有本事来拿，有本事就别用宝剑。哼，打平怪兵器不好。
And in a perfect scenario, Yeoh would be sharing the spotlight with Michael Douglas for his performance in Wonder Boys, which also contains my recommendation for Best Song, Bob Dylan's Things Have Changed. Who better than Dylan to capture the spirit of an artist who, no matter what he accomplishes later in life, will always be remembered for his early work. David Mamet's script for State and Maine is a treasure chest of screwball comedy situations and killer one-liners, and the marvelous Oscar-level ensemble cast includes William H. Macy, David Paymer, Rebecca Pidgeon, and my recommendation for a Best Supporting Actor nod, the underrated Alec Baldwin.
He wouldn't say that. Look, sister, I've just come from a fire. There's some things I want to think out. Come on, come on. Leave me alone. A gesture, all right?
What else?
Page 3. Now, it's a nice evening. I'm not going to say that. It's a nice evening. Yeah, okay.
You might think it's not that much of a stretch for Baldwin to play a self-consumed leading man with a taste for young women, but it takes a lot of guts and a light touch to lampoon oneself to such extremes. Baldwin carries it off with charm and style.
I like your suggestions a lot, and the one I really zero in on is The Claim, because, you know, I'm afraid they're going to fall for The Gladiator, which has a shoddy job of special effects, which has a story that I found to be, you know, basically recycled World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
And it's just not worthy of all the attention it's getting from the Golden Globes and everybody else. People haven't really looked at that film. They're just rolling over, oh, it's a historic epic.
Everybody else is saying it's got momentum, but 20 years from now, we'll be embarrassed if Gladiator gets a nomination over something like
if
The
it
Claim.
wins, it will be one of the worst films to ever win the Oscar.
True.
And The Claim, you're quite right, is filled with atmosphere, with fascinating performances, with a real period feel, and it's a much better
quality
picture.
Oscar-level movie.
We'll be right back. Now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed on this week's show. We split on Sean Penn's The Pledge, although we both admired Jack Nicholson's performance. But two big thumbs down for the Amati Girls, a turgid exercise in Italian-American cliches. Two enthusiastic thumbs up for Panic and for its mixture of dark comedy and family trauma. And finally, we split on Snatch. Richard liked its bold style, but I didn't think it added up to much, and so the one we agree on is Panic with William H. Macy and Nev Campbell.
And Donald Sutherland giving an Academy Award level
yes,
performance.
yes,
Talking
he's
about
really
Academy
good.
Awards.
Yeah.
Remember, you can hear our reviews at Ebert-Roeper-movies.com and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, more new movies, including the romantic comedy The Wedding Planner, starring Jennifer Lopez and Matthew McConaughey, and also Shadow of the Vampire, starring John Malkovich and Willem Dafoe.
I will finish my picture. This is hardly your picture any longer.
That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.